When we're burnt out, oftentimes the first thing we want to do is take a nap or use some kind of mind-numbing activity to disassociate from our state of distress. As you can imagine, numbing out might feel good in the moment, but it isn't very conducive long-term. You'll feel trapped in a vicious cycle. Your entire day with the kids is spent wishing you had time to yourself, and once you finally have time to yourself, you spend it doing something that gives you the fastest, lowest effort dopamine hit in your reach. It doesn't matter if you told yourself you'd do something you needed more. You tell yourself you're too tired to do anything else. This can be a really hard cycle to break because the solution is the opposite of what you think it would be. So mama, I'm telling you this because I love you. Stop doing that. And I'm telling you this because I've been there before and I really don't want you to be there anymore. My name is Deirdre and this is my channel. So let's get into it. When you are burnt out and exhausted and depressed, you probably think you need an extended quantity of time to do a low-quality activity. But what you really need is a higher quality activity to do, in which case the quantity of time doesn't matter very much. But before we get into the details of that, we need to talk about how to get out of a state of burnout. You need to get outside of the house by yourself once a day. Because if you're taking a break for yourself and your environment is not changing, you cannot fully relax. Before you became a mom, home was often a restful place, but now it's your place of work. And even if you work outside of the house too, home is still a place of work. You're just exchanging one hat for another when you come home. If you can get an hour once a day, that's amazing. And if you can only have childcare for 15 minutes, it is still better than nothing. Do it every day for a whole week and you will notice how much your state will improve. But don't fall into the trap of the phone scroll. Wherever you go, be present there. Be aware of what you see, feel, and smell, and hear. Reading or coloring and praying are good activities that you can do that do not have the same soul-sucking tendencies of social media. And yes, Pinterest still counts as social media, by the way. That is step 1. This is your immediate relief to get out of burnout. Now, step 2. How can you keep yourself out of a state of burnout? The first part of step 2 is to have a proper mindset. This can take time to develop if you are freshly coming out of a state of burnout. For me, I know that I'm burnt out when I feel like a slave. I'm completing tasks, I'm caring for others, and I'm doing it all begrudgingly. But when I'm not burnt out, I look forward to doing fun things with my kids and providing nourishing foods and meals for my family. Thank you for your patience, girls. With a proper mindset, I'm diving into motherhood and all of its ups and downs, as opposed to having an avoidant attitude and loathing every moment of it. Your mindset about motherhood can be both a thermometer and a thermostat, meaning a poor mindset can indicate you are in burnout, and it can also cause you to enter a state of burnout. So, be mindful of your mindset. Mindset is a bigger topic than I can completely cover in this video, but I will say that journaling is an invaluable tool to help with this. And I'd also recommend this book, The Mindful Catholic, as an easy and practical read. And if you feel like there is something uncontrollable or inherently disordered in your mind, in your thoughts, and in your moods, and if you've been there, you know what I mean by this, consider the possibility that your body is off balance. You might have a thyroid problem, a leaky gut, or toxic liver, or you're like me and you've had all three. All of that is to say, proper mindset is not just an exercise of the will, but if your mind is being disrupted by a bodily imbalance, that doesn't excuse you from doing something about it. Don't be a victim, be a victor. Anyway, the second part of step 2 is to be proactive. I plan my weeks and months ahead of time. As much as I can, I prepare food in big batches. We're doing the GAPS protocol right now. By the way, if you have a leaky gut, that's something for you. But the food prep is pretty intense, so batch cooking allows me to be intentional about planning fun things to do during the day. To be proactive, we need to be thoughtful and creative. This takes time to get the hang of, and when you have a growing family, you will never have it all together, but together, you will have it all. Just kidding. I might part my hair to the side, but I'm not a millennial, guys. Before I tell you the last part of step 2, remember step 1, the part about getting out of the house? Well, you shouldn't only do that when you're burnt out. It's good to do regularly. But if you can't manage doing it every day, that's fine. It's just super helpful to make a habit of the practice. But I personally find it really hard to get out of the house after my husband gets home from work, we have dinner, it's 7 p.m., and yeah, no, I don't want to leave the house right now, especially when it's the dead of winter. So the last part of step 2 is this. Have a hobby. A hobby has two benefits. First, it can motivate you to get you out of the house. Second, it will maintain your sanity. You can have a whole other thing going for you that doesn't have to involve your world at home. And most importantly, it is not soul-sucking. If you've never had a hobby, now is the time to start. And if you've had a hobby before that you haven't kept up, now is a great time to pick it up again. My hobbies before having kids was dance, theater, and pro-life activism. Not very practical for me to keep up as a mom, so choose wisely. The best hobbies are portable, not time-sensitive, a kind that you can pick up and put down, something you can have a budget for, and something you enjoy. Here are a few examples of hobbies, although they don't all fit each of those qualities I just listed. Just like having a proper mindset and being proactive, having a hobby while being a mom can take some time to get the hang of, but you will get it eventually. It will be worth it. Just allow yourself to be patient. I personally find peace and comfort when I'm making something visual and appealing to the eye, and I enjoy learning how to be better at those things. When I worked for a pro-life organization, I documented and vlogged my travels as I worked. I've always loved video production. Currently, I can easily write a script or type up ideas on my phone when the kids are asleep. I don't get to it often, but it's still there when I get around to it. This was a really great hobby for me to pick up again because it's something I'm already familiar with and enjoy doing. I also enjoy scrapbooking. I started to document memories in this way because growing up I loved flipping through photo albums that my mom put together. This was a hobby that I started just a few years ago with zero prior knowledge on the subject, but I learned a lot from Pinterest and YouTube. Scrapbooking supplies are also very easily found secondhand at a great price. And I also do pro-life activism once a month with a community group here, which is something I've always been passionate about doing. For the record, if you're willing to pick up as many hobbies as me, you have to be willing to accept the fact you won't be able to allocate much time to each of them. Exhibit A, the 3 to 8 month gap between each of my videos. Being a mom is a 24/7 job that flips your whole world upside down, but it doesn't mean that you're no longer your own person with your own interests and passions. So here is your burnout plan. If you are burnt out right now, get outside of the house by yourself once a day. Do not spend it being disassociated. Spend it being engaged, be it engaged in the environment itself or your hobby or some other activity you plan to bring. Step 2, maintain your sanity. Exercise a proper mindset. Correct your patterns of thinking that are sabotaging your success as a mother. Ask Our Lady of Sorrows to help you with this, or pray before our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament. Be proactive. Make a plan and stick to it. Have a hobby and practice it regularly, ideally out of the house. I made a free downloadable and printable document for you to use and reference. The link is below. Is this the magic bullet to suffering in our vocation as mothers? No, you were meant to suffer. Watch this video and I explain why. The reason behind our suffering doesn't really matter. What matters is what we do with that suffering. We need to accept the possibility that we may not know the reason for our suffering until we leave this earthly life.